All right, so the first 2 episodes of the Santa Clauses are available now on Disney Plus, and this will be my review for those first 2 episodes. Just want to say this right off the bat, not sure if I'm going to be covering the show week to week. If you really want me to, comment down below, and if I get enough people saying that they want me to cover it week to week, then I will. But I'll most likely be watching this week to week, so by next week, by the episode of next week, if I feel like it's worth covering week to week, then maybe I will. But yeah, if I don't really feel like it's necessary, then I'll just wait for the whole show to be wrapped up and then do a series review. But yeah, obviously in this show we have Tim Allen returning as Scott Calvin / Santa Claus. We also have Elizabeth Mitchell returning as Carol Calvin / Mrs. Claus. Who else is returning here? Haven't seen him yet, so a bit of a spoiler for the first 2 episodes. This character doesn't show up. David Krumholtz as Bernard the Elf, which we all know is going to be in here because of the trailers we saw, if you watched the trailers. And then also in the show, which I guess this is a bit of a spoiler to say, but you do see this character in the first 2 episodes, Eric Lloyd as Charlie Calvin, the son to Scott Calvin, and the son that you saw in the original first film, which I think it's really cool that actor is coming back as that character, even if it's just for a couple of episodes. But again, just good to see him. I'm very nostalgic for the first movie, and, you know, a little less nostalgic, but still nostalgic for the second one, and the third one, just, no thank you. But I do have a lot of nostalgia for these films, especially around the winter time, around the Christmas time. I always rewatch at least the first film. So for people that are fans of the originals, there's going to be a lot here just in the first 2 episodes where you're like, oh my god, and it's going to make you so nostalgic, because that's what it did for me. It almost made me emotional how nostalgic I was getting, and it was like tapping into nostalgia that I didn't even really know I had. I mean, I kind of know I had nostalgia for this movie, but I didn't know how much nostalgia. But yeah, this is definitely, like, the original Santa Claus is definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies. Probably in my top 3, along with Home Alone and Elf, of course. But yeah, that's it for returning characters / actors. As for new people, we have Austin Kane as Buddy / Cal, which is one of the children to Scott Calvin in this show, being introduced. And that was actually the kid that was being born at the end of the last film, the third film, I should say. Not the same actor, obviously, or at least I don't think so. But yeah, cool to see one of those children in here. And then the other, Elizabeth Allen Dick as Sandra, who is the actual real-life daughter of Tim Allen. I believe this is her acting debut. So very cool to see her in this show, acting alongside her dad as the daughter in the show and the daughter in real life. I think that's very neat. We also have Kal Penn coming into the show as Simon Choksi. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, Kal Penn. I like him. I do like Kal Penn. I'm not being like, I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? Why can't I remember the word I'm looking for? Sarcastic. There we go. I'm not being sarcastic. I really do like Kal Penn. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that, because there's something that's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to get into it yet, but yeah, I don't know if I want to get into it at all, but maybe I will. I don't know, we'll see. Rupali Red as Grace, which is the daughter to Simon. We have Devin Bright as Noel, Matilda Lawler as Betty, which is pretty much the head elf, and she's very cool in the show. I like her so far. But yeah, that's pretty much the main cast for now. And there's not a whole lot of, like, there's not a huge cast on the IMDb page. And there's some stuff that might spoil you, so I wouldn't recommend going there. But yeah, it makes me wonder if, like, the whole cast isn't actually on IMDb. I wonder if there's more to it. I wonder if there's, like, more cameos we might see. Who knows? But yeah, like I said before, if you have any nostalgia, if you grew up watching, or if you're like, you watch these with your kids or whatever growing up, or, you know, as an adult, whatever it might be, if you like the original film or any of the films after that, you're going to have a lot of nostalgia for this one. you're gonna have a lot of things in there that you enjoy. It's kind of like Marvel in a way, where they have the callbacks and the Easter eggs, and that's exactly what they have here. And it works really well if you're into that kind of thing. But if you're the kind of person where it's like, oh, nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, I don't care about that, you might not like this very much. But for me personally, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff most of the time. And in this, I think it works really well, and they bring things back, and they just surprise you, and you're just like, of course. Like, you wouldn't think that would be in the show, but the fact that they did it just makes you feel so happy. And that's really the theme of the show. I mean, there's stuff going on in here where Santa might be retiring. We saw that in the trailer. And things are going crazy at the North Pole, and things aren't too great with this family either. Doesn't really seem to quite be there as much as a dad or a husband. His family isn't too happy being at the North Pole anymore. And also, he's starting to lose his magic. So he decides, all right, I'm going to retire, and it's time to find somebody new. I mean, there's stuff I have written down here that I don't necessarily know if I want to get into or not because of spoilers. And I want people to be able to watch this. I know there's going to be the people that wait to watch it until it's closer to Christmas. There's going to be people that wait to watch it until all the episodes are out, which, again, closer to Christmas. And then there's just going to be people that, couldn't get to it as quick as me. So I want to give them time to watch it. So I'm not going to get into the things I really could, the details about the episodes that I really liked, and the things, well, I guess some of the stuff I don't like so far. I mean, I'd probably have to watch both episodes again, but just some of the humor in there, I mean, it's like, it's new humor. They got a lot of, like, VR jokes and stuff, jokes about, Gen Z and whatnot. And it's just like, why aren't kids the same as they were before? And I'm just like, okay. I mean, there's some nice commentary from Tim Allen as Scott Calvin talking about things he sees, like, people aren't believing as much anymore. The naughty nice list is getting smaller every year. Things aren't looking up for being Santa or for being an elf or for Christmas or anything right now. And he's just looking around just like, why can't everything just, go back to the way it was and be the same? But, things change, I guess, and that's kind of the theme of the show. And it's also funny, the thing I didn't notice before when I was thinking about the show, and, like, you could have taken this from the trailer. I personally could have taken this from the trailer. And I said this in my reviews, is that in the first movie, you get maybe, like, 15 minutes tops of Scott Calvin actually being Santa. In the second movie, you maybe get like 25 minutes tops of Scott Calvin being Santa. In the third movie, you get 30 to 45 minutes of him being Santa. And in this one, so far, he's still been Santa the whole time in these first two episodes. But the whole theme of these movies, it seems like, is the universe just doesn't want Scott Calvin to be Santa. Think about it. In all these situations, in the first movie, that one was kind of on him. He just kind of didn't even believe he was Santa himself. He believed that he didn't even know what to believe. In the second one, he had to go find a wife, and so he was being de-Santified. And then they had the whole toy Santa aspect, where the toy Santa was running the North Pole while he was trying to find a wife. Elizabeth Mitchell, who plays Carol Calvin, which I love that aspect of that movie. And the third one, you have Jack Frost make Scott Calvin say he doesn't want to be, or wish that he'd never been Santa. And so they kind of go back in time, and then Jack Frost becomes Santa. And so in all of these cases, in all of these movies, and now the show, it's a case of, oh, well, it's just all about him not being Santa anymore, not starting to become normal. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I think that's an interesting theme that they've carried through all the films and now to the show, is that it's all about Scott Calvin either being Santa or not being Santa, and most of the time it's about not being Santa. So I think that's interesting. I don't know. But yeah, I bet a lot of people never really thought about that, but that's just something I think about with these movies. I'm just like, each of these movies, except for maybe the first one, because the first one was more about him not believing, and then he started gaining weight and started believing and all that, you know what I mean? And the second one, like I said before, he starts being desantified because he has to have a wife or else he can't be Santa anymore. And then, yeah, I already talked about the third one, but, you know, like, it's just one of those things where the universe just really doesn't want him to be Santa, and I don't really know why. And in this show, it seems even more so. And it has me so curious to see what's going to happen next. Because I have it written right here. I'm so sad it's over. That's what I wrote after I finished episode 2. Because I just wanted to see where it went next. And it ended on kind of a cliffhanger. And the first one kind of did too. But, I mean, in the first one, the cliffhanger was so obvious. You were just like, no. Obviously not. But, in the second one, you're just like, oh my God, what's happening? So it just makes me excited to see what's next for the show. And that's a good thing. When a show can make you excited to watch the next episode and make you anticipate it, that is when you know a show is doing something right. And I think this show, for the most part, just in these first 2 episodes so far, is doing something right. But it is too early to tell whether the show will be fantastic or just kind of mediocre. So we'll really have to wait and see. I mean, I just had a weird stutter there. I have hope for this show, but there's also some parts of me where I'm a little bit nervous about the direction the show could go in and try to have too much kind of meta humor, like the whole Peyton Manning stuff in there. You saw him in the trailer. When he shows up, I don't know how to feel about that. Because at that point, you're just getting goofy and you're just putting people in there for the sake of, oh, look at this guy. So I hope they don't do too much of that, but we'll really have to wait and see. Another thing, oh, sorry, my battery's getting low there. My notification just came up. But the thing I would love to see is them actually bring back these characters that they've established in earlier movies. Like, I'm happy enough they bring back Eric Lloyd for an episode or 2. I'm happy enough if they bring back David Krumholtz for, like, a couple episodes, even just one. But I would love to see, like, you know, Scott's ex-wife. I would love to see Neil. I can't remember her name at the moment. Yeah, is it Nancy? I think that might be the name of the actress. Yeah, Nancy Crewson as, I think it starts with the W. Can't remember at the moment, but her character and Neil, I would also love to see, like, what's her face? The little redhead girl. Why can't I remember any names right now? I just watched it not that long ago. But yeah, I'd like to see her too. I'm still trying to remember her name. It's not Susie. I don't think so. Whatever. But yeah, like the Mother Nature and like Father Time and Jack Frost even, Martin Short could come back. That would be awesome. And the thing I'm also curious about is if they have plans for a second season or if they're just going to stop it here. I have a feeling they're just going to stick with this and it'll be a limited series, but who knows? Maybe they could end up doing more, and I'm down for that. If it ends up being a new Santa, I mean, if they're going to try to go in the direction, and it seems like they're going in this direction of making somebody else Santa, you'd think that they'd have plans for at least another season or 2, or maybe another movie with the new Santa. Like, that's basically what they're doing with Hocus Pocus. If you didn't see the end of that, I mean, they're basically setting up those girls that were in there to be the stars of the franchise going forward. And I mean, they've done that. Disney's been doing that with so much shit lately. And sorry, I didn't mean to swear. You know, this easily could have been a review that kids would watch, but hey, oh well. But yeah, so far so good. And it's a little too early to tell whether the show will really, really be good or not, but we'll really have to wait and see. So I won't give it a ranking or anything yet. I'll wait until the whole series is out to do that. But have you seen the first 2 episodes of The Santa Clauses? What did he think? Did he love him? Did he hate him? Are you in the middle? I definitely very much like them. Wouldn't say I love them yet. A lot of me watching shows is how do I feel overall? And it's hard to completely tell when you just have first, like, two episodes, you know? So we'll really have to wait and see, at least for me. Again, I don't know if I'll review these week to week, but if you guys really want me to, I will. And like I said, I'll probably be watching them week to week. So if I watch the next one, if I watch the next episode next week and I feel like it's worth talking about, then I will. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will see you in the next one.